Julia Buckley, and here's your tip of the day for the 19th of January. So let's talk about diet. Let's talk about how to optimize your diet for fat loss. So this is the main piece of advice that I usually start from when a client comes to me talking about wanting to make changes to their diet, wanting to shed fat from their body. So what I usually focus on first of all is cutting right down on sweet stuff and processed carbohydrates. So let me just really be clear here. I never tell anybody that they should cut anything out of their diet entirely, obviously unless they've got proper medical issues with it, of course. But so I don't like to make any food into forbidden fruit. I don't think it's necessary to cut sugar and carbs out of the diet entirely, and I don't think it would be very pleasant for people, so they probably wouldn't stick to it in the long term. But the thing about sweet stuff is it makes you crave more sweet stuff. That's the kind of nasty thing about it. So what you need to be aware of when you're eating that cake, chocolate bar, sweeties, whatever it is for you, is that it's not really going to satisfy you. You're going to get a sweet kick for a few seconds while it's in your mouth, sure, but very soon afterwards, what it does is it makes you want more, and you're never satisfied. And it also seems to kind of cloud real feelings of hunger in people, so they don't actually fancy their, chicken and vegetables or whatever kind of nice, wholesome, healthy meal they had planned. All they want is to keep eating more and more of the sweet stuff. So how do you stop? You gotta stop. So don't try and cut all of it out altogether, just all in one go, but just find alternatives, cut it down over time and try and minimize it. And also, processed carbohydrates. So I'm talking about stuff like pasta and bread and certain cereals and things like that here. Obviously I'd rather you be eating those than refined sugar if you want to shed fat, but they're not great, what I find with people, what I found myself when I changed the way I ate, and what I find again and again and again with clients, is when you start to reduce the amount of those processed carbs in your diet, you get more in touch with your true hunger signals, you shed fat, and also you eat tastier foods. Because when you think about it, pasta, would you ever eat pasta without a sauce or without any sort of filling? Of course you wouldn't, because it's pretty tasteless. So the same goes for a lot of these things. So think about what that means. They're basically cheap ways of bulking out a meal, and most of us in the Western world, we don't need that. If you can replace those processed carbohydrates with lovely, tasty, nourishing, nutrient-filled vegetables, think about what that's going to do for your health. And it takes a bit of adjustment to get used to it, and there are tips and tricks you can do, like, a lot of people like to have cauliflower rice, which is kind of grated up cauliflower instead of rice, or strips of vegetables instead of pasta. We can talk about these tips actually. Come and find me on social media and we'll talk more about that. And you can get more advice like this from my book, The Fat Burn Revolution. Look it up on Amazon, get it at your favourite bookshop. And please subscribe to my YouTube channel if you'd like more of these tips. And you can find me on Twitter @JuliaB, and I'll put some other links underneath this video. Thanks for watching today, guys.